Is hell real? Well, let me just tell you, firsthand experience, absolutely. Now, bear with me. It's a long video. I'll try to make it as short as I can. Um, Unedited. I'm laying in the bed. I felt the spirit come over me to share this video. So, a few months ago, me and my friend decided we wanted to watch the UFC fights, and we went to Twin Peaks. It's like Hooters. The girls dressed skanky, and we decided we wanted to smoke some weed and go have a fun night. Now, a little bit of a backstory real quick. I do have a relationship with God. I'm a firm believer, but I do not walk with him as I should. It's on my terms. And, you know, I want to do better. Let me just say that. I want to live for Christ. But there's a lot of things in me that need to change. Hold on, let me turn my fan off because it's kind of loud. So, anyway, we get to the restaurant and we're sitting in the car. We smoke weed. My tolerance to marijuana is very low, so I get stoned very quickly. We head into the restaurant. We sit down. We order our food. We're watching the fights. We're laughing, having a good time, and I felt my heart do like this really weird flutter. And I have had heart issues in the past, so it really like triggered my anxiety and sent me into a little bit of a panic. I was like, that's really weird. I don't know what's going on. So I tried to ignore it, focus on the fights, and then it done it again. But this time it really sent me into a panic. And the problem when you smoke weed is you get super aware of your senses. But if anxiety starts, it's very hard to stop it. It's not like, when you're normal, you can kind of calm yourself down. It's a lot hard to pull yourself out. And I just spiraled into a panic attack. I told my friend, I was like, I think I need to go to the hospital. And he wasn't taking me very serious. So I was like, hey, I'm calling 911. I call 911. I'm pacing around the restaurant. And I'm just like, my body feels numb. And my heart's beating so fast and it's racing. It's a panic attack at that time. So anyway, I get outside and I'm so disoriented. I hardly know where I'm at. Like I just everything feels so weird, and I'm like begging the dispatcher to have the paramedics hurry up. So they finally get there, and they're like, "Well, hey, come into the ambulance. We're gonna check your vitals and see how everything looks. We'll do an EKG of your heart." So I go and I get in the ambulance, and something just felt really off. I get in I get my shirt off. They start hooking me up to machines. And then they're trying to calm me down, like, hey, breathe slow, calm down, relax. But then all of a sudden, all of the paramedics came into like sequence. And they were like, yeah, breathe real slow, in and out. But it started to sound very demonic, like just pure evil. And I started like wigging out. And they almost started singing and chanting like they were just trying to get me into some kind of hypnosis or something. I can't really explain it. But they were like, yeah, just like that. Keep doing that real slow. And it got more and more dark and evil. And like I just knew I had to get out of the ambulance. So I'm trying to push at the doors and they're not going anywhere. And I can feel heat on the other side of the door. And all I could think of in my mind was, I'm in hell. Like, what is going on here? And I couldn't get out. And so I'm fighting, and they finally let me out. And so I go running across the parking lot, and they come over there, and they're like, what's going on? I'm like, I'm not going with you anywhere. So I go back into the restaurant, and I look for my friend, and I'm like, hey, Jacob, like, we got to go, like, right now. We need to get out of here. And so we get in the truck, and I call my dad because he's like a super Christian is what I call him. I call him and I'm talking to him and I'm like, please just pray with me. I don't know what's going on right now. Something's wrong. I need your help. So my dad's talking to me. He's trying to comfort me, to make me feel better, and we're talking about God, and I'm telling him like I'm sorry, and I want to do better. I want to live for Christ. I'm gonna change. Like I'm gonna just like I'm begging God and I'm begging my dad to just help me. And so my friend drives me to the emergency room, and I get out of the truck, but something told me do not go in the hospital. Like I don't know why, but I just felt like that was not the right thing to do. And I'm pacing around the truck. I'm talking to my dad still, and it just came over me like I think I'm in hell. Like something just is really wrong. Like I looked out over the like we were on like a hill. I live in the mountains, so we kind of look out over the city, and it just looked I, like a cartoon almost. It just all I could think was I'm in hell. But then I would try to suppress that feeling, like no, no, like I might ignore that. So I pace around and take it I'm high, so like all of these feelings and emotions are enhanced so much. Um, so finally I'm like, hey, I just need you to take me back to my car. So I get in the truck, we start driving toward my car, and it was a Saturday after, it was Saturday evening, and I used to go to a church down the road from his house, and they have services on Saturday. So on the way we get to the church, I see it, and I'm like, Jacob, take me to church right now. But when we got there, church was the service had ended and everybody had left. And so I go to the door and I pull the door, and like I needed to talk to somebody. Like I needed to pray like right now. So I scurry across the parking lot, like still disoriented. Everything's like just so weird. And I see a couple sitting in a car, and I'm like, "Hey, guys, can you please pray with me like right now?" And like, what's going on? And I think I'm in hell. Like I feel like I'm in hell. So I don't know if he quite understood like what I meant. But he gets out of the car and he starts to pray with me, and we start talking, and I'm trying to distract myself. And it was like every time that he would talk about God, it would just become gibberish, and I couldn't understand anything that he would say. I couldn't think about God, I couldn't pray. Everything was just um like a whole nother language. And I'm pacing around the parking lot. I'm panicking. I don't know what's going on. I'm around and I'm just looking around. I'm freaking out. And I see a restaurant. And I'm like, hey, can you please walk with me in this restaurant? I don't know why I wanted to go in the restaurant. But we head to the restaurant. We go in. And I'm just standing in the middle of the restaurant. I'm talking to this guy. And the whole place just turned demonic. And I told him, I said, I think I'm in hell. And he had this like weird smirk on his face. He was like, yeah, it may seem like that right now. You're not really in hell. You're just experiencing this. And that like sent me over the edge. Um, he leaves and I'm in the restaurant and I'm just standing there, and I start looking around at people and their faces started distorting. And before you say anything, you'll say, "Oh, the weed was laced." First, I got it from a dispensary, and after all of this happened, I ended up going to the hospital, and I was like, "Check me, if there's anything else in my system," and there wasn't. So no, it was not a hallucination. It was not any other drug. But so I go up to these people's table, and I'm like, "I'm in hell." And they were like, good, at least you're warm. And then I just go up to these other people and I'm like, I'm in hell. And they're like, you belong there. Like it was just everybody was demonic, and they were mocking me, and they were like insulting me, and I've never felt so much negativity and hate in my life. Like it was just so ugly and dark and disgusting. I was trying with everything to find some bit of reality. My mind was not completely present on this earth. My body was still here. I was conscious, but my mind was halfway between this earth and another dimension. I'm pretty convinced in that right now. So out of like, for some reason, I decided to start grabbing and breaking things. So I started throwing chairs and I started breaking plates all over the floor. And I go outside and like people are like cursing at me and telling me to go away. And I'm just, I need help. Like, I need help, people. So anyway, I see cops pull up and I start running. I start running across the parking lot. And in my mind, I don't know if these are real cops or if these are demons or what's going on. I don't know if I'm in reality. Nothing. So I'm running across the parking lot, but it's almost like I'm moving. I'm running as fast as I can, but I'm not really going anywhere. It's like um it's like I was in mud. I was stuck. Time didn't exist. And I started to grasp in my reality. I'm in hell. And it became such a reality that I accepted it. And I knew that I was in hell. I knew that I belonged there. I knew that I would never see my son again. And I started to accept I'm in hell. This is my eternity. And I will never get out of this place. And that was the most scary moment, the most scary feeling that I could ever imagine. And I could just tell you, if you ever experience that, it haunts me to this day. And that was months ago. And I run into an O'Reilly's parts store and I start throwing stuff off the shelves and I break a computer. And I don't know why I was doing those things, but the cops like disappeared for a while. I didn't see them for a few minutes. I went back out in the parking lot. I didn't see them. And finally they showed up again and they're chasing me, but I was running. They couldn't catch me. I ended up pulling a muscle in my leg. And when I pulled the muscle in my leg, in my hamstring, it was the most pain I've ever experienced in my life. I don't know why. I just pulled a muscle, but my whole body froze up and I couldn't move. I started to limp, and that's when the cops started to like get close to me. They had the tasers out, and they were like, "Look, we're just trying to help you. Like, we know something is wrong. Like, stop, just stop." But I was scared. I didn't want them to get me. So finally they surrounded me and they started talking to me, and I somewhat started to feel a little sense of normal. So paramedics, they called ambulance. Paramedics come and they were like, we think you need to go to the hospital. Like, you need to be checked out. Paramedics get me in the ambulance, and all I could think about was what happened earlier in the ambulance, but this felt different. I started talking to the paramedic, and he was super nice, and I started to feel normal on the way to the hospital. And once I got to the hospital, things started to calm down. My high started to come down. I didn't sense the negativity quite the same way. I don't know why God allowed me to experience that. It's not what a lot of people tell you. Or, I believe that, people are burning and stuff like that. And I think hell may be different for everyone. For me, I've always been a negative person and evil, and I always cuss out people and try to fight people. And for me, that's what I felt. I felt those insults. I felt people trying to fight me and hurt me and bully me, right? And it was just the most horrible feeling you could ever imagine. I don't want anyone to experience that. I mean, my words alone will never be able to describe what it feels like to accept that you're in a place that you can't get out, that is so evil and dark. I mean, I'm glad God didn't allow me to actually see flames and all of this stuff. He only let me see a little bit of it, but it was enough to change my life. And for 2 or 3 days, I couldn't convince myself that I wasn't still in hell. I'll even now, even to this day, I'll still have flashbacks, and I think Satan still tries to hurl attacks at me and make me think that I am in hell. Like if something bad happens, or I have a bad thought or something, I have to tell myself I'm not in hell. I'm back on earth. I have my family and my friends and things. If you don't know Christ, you need to know him. Hell is so real, people, and it happens in an instant. When you leave this body, I mean, not even milliseconds. It's instant. You're gone. I hate talking about it. It scares me. I try to ignore it, that it happened, but I will never forget it. I will never forget that experience. And if you listen to this, it may not sound that horrible, but I'm telling you, like even the next day when I woke up, so I didn't get arrested, but I did get a ticket for criminal mischief. And I had to wake up and like look, and I had to look at this ticket like, did that really happen? Was it real? But leave your comments. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. If I need to make a follow-up video, anybody wants to know anything else, I probably left some stuff out. I've been talking a long time. But if you don't know Christ, again, now's the time. Get to know Jesus. He loves you. He's ready to have a relationship with you. God don't send you to hell. You send yourself. He sends open invitations every day. Anybody can come to him at any time. Please do. If you're watching this video, you do not want to experience what I experienced, especially for eternity. God bless y'all.